This is the video many of you have been waiting for, the main event, the Eldrazi. And joining me today is Bill Stark. He's a game developer for Wizards of the Coast. Now, Bill, I was reading about the Eldrazi and the rise of the Eldrazi Player's Guide, which you can find in the Fat Pack. It says here that they are soulless ravagers of the Aether. Now, Bill, what exactly is going on here?
Well, Sam, I've been playing Magic for over 10 years, and the Eldrazi are unlike anything I've ever seen before. Not only do they have the largest creature that's ever been printed, but some of their abilities are absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot to cover, so let's get into it.
Sounds good. Let's take a look at one of the Eldrazi, Artisan of Kozilek. Okay, the first thing you probably notice is the awesome new card frame. The largest Eldrazi creatures themselves and several other spells in the set are colorless. You can see that there are no colored mana symbols in the mana cost.
But we've seen colorless spells before, right?
True, but most of those have been artifacts, and don't be fooled by the mana cost. Eldrazi are not artifacts. What you may not have seen before is a colorless instant or sorcery. Let's take a look at Not of This World.
Ah, so we see here that the tribal card type is back.
Correct. We last saw Tribal in the Morningtide expansion. Tribal allows non-creature cards to pick up creature types, so Not of This World is an Eldrazi spell, even though it's not a creature.
So anything that interacts with Eldrazi spells affects not only the Eldrazi creatures, but these cards as well?
Exactly. And because these cards don't require colored mana, they can go into any deck.
Awesome. I want to go back and take a look at that Artisan of Kozilek again.
You got it.
So its first ability is a little unusual. Can you tell us more about it, Bill?
Sure. Several of the Eldrazi include a triggered ability that triggers when you cast that creature. As you can see here, when you cast Artisan of Kozilek, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Let's see that in action. Okay, so in this situation, I have a Runeclaw Bear and an Artisan of Kozilek in my graveyard and an Artisan in my hand. I'll tap 9 lands and cast the one in my hand. When I do, its ability triggers. I'll target the Artisan in my graveyard. Now note that I can cast Artisan of Kozilek even if I have no creature cards in my graveyard. The triggered ability just won't do anything.
And because that ability is on the stack on top of the Artisan you cast, the ability resolves first, right?
It does. When the ability resolves, the Artisan in my graveyard will return to the battlefield. Note that I didn't cast this Artisan, so I won't be able to get my Runeclaw Bears back as well.
Well, that's still pretty powerful. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Artisan you cast is still on the top of the stack, so I could still counter it, right?
Ah, well played, Sam. You can. The triggered ability will trigger and resolve regardless of what happens to the original Eldrazi spell.
Okay, so I'm going to tap 3 lands and cast Cancel. I think one Artisan of Kozilek is more than enough for me to handle.
And the Artisan I cast will be countered and head to the graveyard.
Well, the Eldrazi already seem like some of the most impressive creatures in Magic.
Ah, but Sam, you haven't even seen them attack yet. You see, the Eldrazi are mercilessly pummeling the plane of Zendikar, completely annihilating all in their path. To represent this in their cards, the largest Eldrazi have a new keyword ability called Annihilator.
Very fitting. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret this, but can we see that in action?
Absolutely. So, we've jumped ahead a few turns, and here again is Artisan of Kozilek ready to attack. Poor Sam over there has a couple 1/1 core soldier tokens and some lands. Eldrazi love to attack, so here we go. Now, when Artisan of Kozilek attacks, its Annihilator ability triggers. When this ability resolves, the defending player, that'd be you, Sam, must sacrifice some permanents. In this case, 2 permanents because Artisan of Kozilek has Annihilator too.
Okay, and all of this happens before I can block, right?
Correct. Now, a permanent is any card or token on the battlefield, so Sam could sacrifice his lands, his core soldier tokens, or even one of each.
I think I'll sacrifice one of each, leaving me a blocker and at least a few lands to cast spells later.
Good plan. Okay, the 2 creatures will do battle. Mine wins.
Yeah, I know.
And that's how Annihilator works.
Devastating. Of course, the Eldrazi do require a lot of mana to cast, so it's probably difficult to see them in an actual game, right?
Not nearly as difficult as you think. You see, when the Eldrazi were unleashed upon Zendikar, they caused a variety of lesser creatures to appear. These are the Eldrazi drone creatures. Let's take a look at Nest Invader.
Nest Invader is a green creature.
Correct. The Eldrazi drone creatures aren't like their colorless progenitors, but most of them create colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens, usually when they enter the battlefield.
Eldrazi spawn creature tokens do show up a lot in this set, don't they?
Yes, in fact, there are instants and sorceries that create them.
And all the Eldrazi spawn creature tokens are the same, no matter what card created them?
Exactly. They're all 0/1, and each one can be sacrificed to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Check this out. Okay, so I control 3 forests and 3 swamps, and Sam controls a Glory Seeker, a 2/2 creature. I'll tap 2 lands to cast Nest Invader. When Nest Invader enters the battlefield, I also get an Eldrazi spawn creature token. Here's Corpse Hatch, a sorcery that destroys target non-black creature and puts 2 Eldrazi spawn creature tokens onto the battlefield. So, I'll tap my remaining 4 lands and sacrifice that Eldrazi spawn creature token. This gives me 5 mana. And I'll cast Corpse Hatch, targeting your Glory Seeker.
Alright, so if you build up enough Eldrazi spawn tokens, you get a nice colorless mana boost, and casting a large Eldrazi creature that costs 9 or 10 mana...
Or 15.
15? Look, even that's very doable in games with the Rise of the Eldrazi cards.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Now you know how we felt making these cards. I've seen them do incredible things during playtesting, and I can't wait to see what crazy things players come up with once they're out there.
Definitely looking forward to that. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have some new decks to build. So we're going to get out of here. Bill, once again, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. It's been a blast.
We'll see you next time.